proving his point. Everybody get a donut? Who wants one? Okay. What's that noise? Oh. Jake's trying to tune in. Who are we missing? Kaylee? Kaylee. Jacob. Football game tonight? Yeah. Do you have a quote for today? No? Would you like to make an announcement about that? Or do you want me to? Yeah. Oh, yesterday. Today.
Oh, I can share. Yeah. So there is a state dance on the 16th, but we have also been invited. Our state has been invited by the Santa Clara state, I think. And there's a dance the day right after, so that's Saturday. And it's in Eugene. It's like an hour and 30 minutes away. Yeah, so you don't have to go to that one, obviously.
So next weekend there are two dances.
Yeah, there are two dances back to back. So there are two. They're both separate, but they're both Western themed. So like country style. Yeah,
Huh?
there are two. That's the biggest confusion is people think that it got like switched and there's one on Saturday instead of Friday, but there are two separate dances.
Basically, the more important one is the one that is the one in our state. I don't know what it's at.
Next Friday.
It's
Yeah,
at
next Friday.
It's at the barn. The barn.
Eugene dances are not great. Eugene dances are not great.
How many? What? Don't spoil the water.
But
Not
listen,
Asher Barn Cooper.
It's better than
did
the.
you go to FSY last year?
That is one person's opinion.
It's at that same place.
Yeah, it's the same place that youth conference was, the one right after COVID.
WOU.
Yeah, Ferguson Farm. That's where it's at.
Oh.
I like
With the big like tent thingy,
Yeah.
tent thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys
No,
went.
that was fun. Bro.
I know.
Yeah, go for it.
Alright,
James.
You can't really think.
we're gonna start now. Jake will be doing what must be done. I think he already did that. Amina has our music share. Holly
Spray
will cry unto the Lord. Grant has the doctrinal mastery. Amina will do personal share too. And Addie will give thanks and praise. We have new study journals and Book of Mormon giveaway.
I'll talk about those in a minute.
Okay, who's on deck?
Underneath.
Update reading and text of the Jones chart, and then show up for supper. What is that? Okay.
What's the question?
Okay, what do I hate doing that is good for me? And Friday football, senior sunrise tomorrow. What's that?
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, what's senior sunrise?
Grant?
You get here at 6:30, and you watch the sunrise, and there's donuts and.
Okay.
Nice. Boys soccer, cross country away, and then there's
Soccer,
state
Sunday.
camp review on Sunday.
Cross country away tomorrow. Boys soccer playing at home
Yes.
on the field at 11 o'clock. Is there JV and varsity? What time is JV?
Same time.
Oh, different locations?
Yep. For Grove.
For Grove and, okay, they're both playing same time. Got it. No full moon party this month because there's a lot going on, other events and dances and games and stuff, so we'll shoot for next month. Okay, so new study journals. You see this thing on your desk? It took a while to get in here, so in the meantime, I had already handed out the other notebooks. I would, if you're going to keep one, I would rather you keep the study journal because it's got doctrinal mastery stuff in there and some other things that are helpful that we'll refer to from time to time. If you've written a lot in the other booklet, then you can just keep using that. If you've only got a page or two in the other one, then you can, if you want to tear that out and like glue it in the other study journal, because look at the back of this, it's got a bunch, mostly it's just blank pages for keeping notes. So I think this is a great place to keep your study journal for seminary. So if you want to transfer from the big notebook to the study journal, you can do that, and I can give you like a glue stick and you can put your pages in there and then not have to have the big one. Did you get a donut, Kaylee? Okay, all right. Okay, Book of Mormon giveaway. So I've got this here. It's got a little thing in here that says, give me to a friend. So be mindful of who can benefit from the tremendous blessing of having the Book of Mormon. So it's always going to be just right here. If you have somebody come to mind that you want to give that gift to, just take that. Let me know you took it. Maybe tell us about it. You know how it went, but there it is. And when that goes, then I'll put another one there. Okay? Sometimes I've been in a position where I want to give away a Book of Mormon, but I don't have one, and it's actually, I don't know where to get one. I have to go call the missionaries. Where do I get like a plain blue Book of Mormon? Who's on deck? Seth, who's not here, is up for Monday's shares. And Brett, you are conducting next week. Yeah, I like that response. Update your reading. So how many of you are using the app successfully to update your reading? Okay, just a few of you. Everybody else is using the chart, presumably. So I want you to update it right now and then take a picture and text that picture to me so I can update your record for you. Please do that. my way of just keeping you up to date on your reading, so I don't have to do a whole bunch later. That's cool. Okay, show up for supper. That means be in the right place at the right time on Sunday morning. You've been invited to a special supper. Yes.
Jacob Bauer said that he's going to be late. He might make it to the end.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
He asked me to ask you. I'll tell you.
Thanks, probably because I didn't respond to him or something. Okay, cool, thanks. Okay, all right, anything else? Yes?
It's a short day. Do you know what time you get at?
Yeah, 8:55, I think. It's like a Wednesday.
Sort of, but even shorter.
No, it's the same. There's 35-minute.
It's the same schedule. They sent me a schedule and it looked like the same thing as a Wednesday. It's just an early release day. Yeah. Okay, so Amina, we will turn the time to you.
All right, so for my music share, I did not pick a hymn. This is actually a song that I shared last year in this class. If you're in here, I'm sorry, you're gonna hear it again, but it's about this girl, and her name is Madeline Bailey, and she's a famous singer, but she was on America's Got Talent, and she actually made a song. She put together a song of all hate comments that she received on her YouTube channel. But it explains in the video, it says, like one of the judges is kind of amazed that she was able to create something beautiful out of something not beautiful. So I really like the song. It's kind of silly, but I don't know.
Good message.
And I've written that I love, get it out to as many people in the world as possible. Yeah.
So what are you going to do for us tonight? What is the song tonight?
With posting content on the internet, it inevitably comes to trolls. And so I thought I would take the hate comments from my YouTube videos and turn them into a song.
That's a good idea. Wow.
Thank you.
So tonight, you're going to take ugliness and make it beautiful. I can't wait to hear the song.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
the judges like it?
Did you win?
She went.
Yeah, sorry, that was kind of silly, but it ties into my Christmas tree a little bit.
Wonderful.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful to be able to join here together as a seminary class, and we're grateful that we've been able to make it through the second week of school, and please help us to be able to continue to accomplish the things that we need to do and to be productive. And we're grateful that here at seminary to learn of thee and your Son, and please help us to continue to have thy Spirit guide our lesson, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen. Thank you. Dr. Mastery.
So I was trying to remember which ones people hadn't done, and I couldn't remember, so I just did the first one. So it's Isaiah 5, verse 20. And that reads, "Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter." I just really like this scripture because it's like that happens so frequently today, and it's just like pretty much any aspect of life you look at, it's just like you can find that, whether it's like relationships or just like everyday life. So.
Can you think of any examples off the top of our heads of this? Last night in our house, we were talking about this. We had a good example of it. Remember, Ivy? What was? Grant, does anything come to mind? Anybody else? Examples of calling evil good and good evil?
The mainstream. It seems like a mainstream everything now. Like this is an example, but I feel like the good gets pressed on evil so often that I feel like people nowadays want to stake it for good, and so a lot of things become mainstream, like I don't know, just like a stupid thing, like trying to look cool in front of your friends so you don't wear a seatbelt when you drive. Okay, like that. I feel like that's become like mainstream or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously that's a silly example.
Yeah.
But it happens, like
Totally.
anything like that can become so unimportant to people that they don't even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even know they've been wrong about it, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality there are dangers of not wearing your seatbelt. It's kind of like the same thing.
Okay, so if you do it enough, then you start to lose some sensitivity to what is good and what is not good. Preston and then Asher.
I feel like it's not just like people saying mistaking good for evil and evil for good. It's more of like it's not that bad, or it's like trying to like make you numb to it, kind of.
Okay, so can anybody think of the scripture that? Well, no, I won't. That's a whole lesson. But yeah, absolutely. So it's like, well, it's not as bad as it could be. I'm not as bad as them, so therefore I must be good because I'm just comparing myself to this person and I'm better, so then I'm fine. Forget like what is actually good and what's actually not good. Okay, cool. Asher and then Bridget and then Ivy. What's that? Word for word? Wow, good job. Yeah.
In our last seminary class for Sutherland, we remember this one because 420 and drugs and how that's kind of perceived as okay now, since it's legal and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of just how I remember it.
Right. Okay. Ivy.
Last year in psychology, we learned about something. I forgot, just desensitization or something, and it was about if I don't know, little kids watching graphic movies, and then the more and more they watch, the less they care about people watching other humans be hurt or tortured because they just saw it so much on TV, and just building up the resistance of compassion is, just building up resistance of anything. It's I don't know, it's not good, because then you're oh, it's not that bad, it's not that bad, and then it just
Becomes normal. Yeah, acceptable, mainstream. We build up a tolerance to it. It's hard to draw the line when it's just really, really subtle progression. Right? The adversary usually doesn't come out and just say follow me. I'm the bad guy, follow me. Because most people would be no, but he does really well when he gets us to just slightly veer off course a little bit. Calling something good that is not good. One thing I can think of is doing what you want. You do you, which, okay, I get it. Okay, there's some good in there, but also no, that's a terrible idea. Don't do you, because you're a mess, right? It's you don't even know who you are or what you are. And you change every 6 months to a different person, biologically. And at this stage of life, you're changing. You're just, all kinds of things are all changing. And so we need something that is a foundation besides whatever we want, whatever we happen to want in the moment. That is something that's really called good, but it's really not good. We need anchors. Don't do you. You do Jesus. Don't do you. That's a better idea. Yeah. That's a way better idea. He knows a little more about how you work, and he's giving you tips on what's going to work for you. And what you think is going to work for you probably a lot of times in the long run isn't actually going to work. Grant.
That reminds me of something Philip said in his mission, when you were talking about growth and how quickly we're changing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Philip was talking about how he knows he's growing up because the shorter the amount of time it takes you to realize something you did was cringy means you've grown since then. Okay. So he's I'm thinking of stuff I did 4 months ago, and I'm why would I do that? And it's just the quicker you're able to see a mistake you made in the past means you're growing.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. It's nice to be able to recognize that growth when it's happening. Yeah, it's something to be celebrated. Cool. This is a great conversation. There's so much we could talk to about, go into detail about this. We could really find and identify some great examples. And maybe we'll do that some more as that scripture comes up. Thanks, Grant. Okay, back to you. Personal share.
All right. So I've actually been thinking a lot about what to share for my personal share. So I thought I'd share something that's been on my mind a lot recently, and that's just overall kindness, and just being kind to other people. I just think that it's so important, and it kind of ties into my musical share because the singer, she received a lot of hate comments, and she received a lot of people being extremely rude to her. But she was able to, instead of be rude right back to them, because it would have been so easy, she made it beautiful. She didn't dwell on it. She didn't hold a grudge. She was like, okay, whatever, and it didn't make her feel like less of a person because she didn't worry about it. And so I think that's a good example for me to just always remember that it's possible to be kind when people are not to you. And so I think that's super important. It's just because he was so kind to everyone all the time. I think that's one of the most important things that we can do is be as Christ-like as we can. And so I think kindness is one of the biggest things for me, at least.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So Jesus said that there's one characteristic that is going to be, of all the different ways we can be, of all the different commandments, of all the different things that we are being encouraged to become in the church, Jesus told his friends, there's one specific thing, one of the most important thing, that people will be able to identify you as one of my followers. This will set you apart from other people. This one thing is the most important thing that will identify you as my friend. And what was that thing? Exactly. He didn't call it kindness. He called it love. By this shall all men know that you are my disciple, if ye have love one to another. Right? But it's a little complicated too, Amina, because did Christ just say, you're just fine the way you are? Just fine the way you are.
There's always room for improvement.
No, he was all about and always about doing better.
But I don't necessarily think that's not love. That's it's constructive.
That is love. How did he talk to the people who were bullies, who were liars, who were hypocrites? How did he talk to them?
Not nicely.
He told them the truth. And there it is. Kindness is speaking the truth with love in your heart. So he knew that kindness was not just making people feel happy, taking them to Disneyland every weekend, right? There's the Mickey Mouse church that sometimes we think that we're trying to build here, which is just help everybody just be happy and comfortable all the time. Like it's always a party. No, he's definitely all about growth and becoming something more than we are. So kindness is helping you and helping everybody around you to be better with love in your heart for that person and for yourself. Yeah.
I think it was last year. In this class, we talked a lot about the difference between being nice and being kind.
We did, yeah.
And that stuck with me a lot.
I'm glad you remember that.
Yeah, and so like for me, sometimes I struggle to be kind. And sometimes I struggle to be nice. I definitely know that I do a lot, but I try to be, rather than be as nice as I can, I try to be kind. It's just, I think it's all about your intent. I think that.
Good. That's a perfect segue into today's miniature discussion. Thanks, Amina. Hey, look at this. I wanted to have you guys share this with each other. It's an interesting conversation. So this is a follow-up to yesterday. And I do want to just end on this. Like, we could keep going for like another half a week on this subject, this idea. You know, I'm not trying to give you information in here. Again, I'm trying to give you life lessons that are based in the gospel of Jesus Christ, not just give you facts about stuff. All right, you can get those. We're here to discuss things that are going to help us be better and do better. So look at this idea. This is from yesterday. There's a continuum of completely anti and opposition to good. And then on the other side, there's I love it and I want all of it and give me more of it, right? So if you look at this little, XY thing, over here is the quantity of good that we can do. How much good can we do? How much good can we be? This is the quantity, and over here's the quality of good. And on this continuum over here, this is active opposition to good. Okay? And then we move over here to proactive pursuit of good. And along the way, I would have spent time and had you help me flesh this out, but I know we don't have time in here, so I kind of just wrote some stuff down. Over here's active opposition, moving in a good direction. We get to resentful compliance. Fine, I'll do it. The unhappy minimalist. I'll do the minimum amount I have to do, but very unhappily and unwillingly. And you're going to know that I'm not happy about it, but I'm going to do it. All right? Okay. There's the fake it for the benefits. You've got my body here, but you don't have my heart. You don't have my mind. But I'm going to fake it so I can get what I need. There's the go along to get along. It's whatever. It's fine. I wouldn't choose it, but it's fine. It's cool. I'll go along to go on. Then there's the happy minimalist versus the unhappy minimalist. The yes man. Yeah, let's do it. Awesome. But I'm happy to do the minimum I have to do, but I'm not actually going beyond because I want to. But I'm happy to be happy compliant. And then I couldn't come up with anything better than this verse that I kept thinking of. The man in the New Testament who said, I believe, help thou mine unbelief. It's like, I do want it, but I also sometimes don't. I believe, but help me believe better. There's that. And then there's the proactive pursuit. Want as much as I can, and I do as much as I can to be the best that I can. And, the better we do here, the more good we can do over here. So the point is to know and become like Jesus. So the more we are on this side of the willingness, then the more light, knowledge, power, and love that we have. The more we know him, and knowing him is becoming like him. Let's read these verses in the next couple of minutes. So we're going to turn quickly. This is 2 Nephi 2:27. We've read it once in here before. We'll read it a few times. Alma 29:4, DNC 6:8. Then if we have time, we're going to look up in the index or the topical guide the word intent and the word willingly. So while you're looking that up, 2 Nephi 2:27. It is true neurobiologically that you do not grow unless you choose to. You don't get new skills so for the brain to change and develop new connections and all this stuff, you have to want it. That's not just the gospel principle, although that is taught in the gospel of Jesus Christ. You have to do it because it sets in motion a chemical process that allows your brain to adapt and to change. All right. So willingness and intent is everything when it comes to becoming our best. Okay. 2 Nephi 2:27. Who's got it? Go. And then you do the next one, Ivy. Alma 29:4.
Wherefore men are free according to the flesh, and all things are given them which are exceeding unto, and they are free to choose liberty and eternal life, through the great mediator of all men, or to choose captivity and death, according to the captivity and power of the devil. For he seeketh that all men might be miserable, like unto himself.
Okay, so what we get there is we are free to choose. Okay? Next, Ivy, Alma, 29:4.
I ought not to harrow up in my desires the firm decree of a just God, for I know that he granteth unto men according to their desire, whether it be unto death or unto life. Yea, I know that he allotteth unto men, yea, decreeth unto them decrees which are unalterable, according to their wills, whether they be unto salvation or unto destruction.
Wow. Unalterable decrees from God that says you get what you desire. There's no bending, there's no breaking that. That's an unalterable decree in eternity. You get according to your will. Who's got DNC 6:8? Quick. We'll read this one. Yes, Katie.
Now, as you have asked, behold, I say unto you, keep my commandments, and seek to bring forth and establish the cause of Zion.
That's DNC 6:8?
No, that was 6:6.
Okay.
Sorry.
8:55.
That's right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Read it fast.
We're leaving.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, even as you desire me, so it shall be unto you. And if you desire, you shall be the means of getting much good in this generation.
Okay. So I hope that I've proved my point here.
Sorry.
It's all about desire. No, you're right. You got to go. I'll leave this with you in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. And is it you? No. Sorry. Where?
Oh, it's me.
Okay.
Heavenly Father, we're thankful for the opportunity to gather here in seminary today. Please help us to have a good rest of our day, to keep the Spirit with us, and to stay out of the heat, and to say things in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen. Thanks, guys.